Good afternoon, night, whenever you are deciding to watch this broadcast. As I always do love to say, I hope you've missed us as we are back with All-Star Brawl. Oh man, it's been maybe a month or so since we've last done this, but yesterday we definitely had a match and it was very exciting. First time, everyone got to kind of enjoy how things worked, but we're here with a whole new match, Regen versus Kracked, Katz, something a bit more unknown versus your own bread and butter, kind of the community favorites. But either way, it's gonna be exciting to see how they try to make a name for themselves. But that doesn't mean you're going to be forgetting about us, because I'm username underscore Intel, your play-by-play gazer here, joined by Mr. Dividing by Zero. How are you doing, my good man?
I am doing quite well, Intel. It's been a little bit since we've gotten to cast together, but it's always a pleasure, my man. And I could not be more excited to see, yeah, just like you set up there, Regen, the sort of established tier 3 team, came in 5th place in last month's, or last Overwatch All-Star Brawl, going up against sort of newcomer in the Kracked Katz.
It's gonna be a little weird because this is pretty much a new environment for us. I think both of us are kind of like sitting here like, I wonder where Kracked Cats are. But Regen have been within the Overwatch community for a very long time. They've been
Yeah.
working strong. They even played in the Will Invitational. They've been competing in other tournaments as the offseason for contenders has been. And they've been looking great, even bringing back some old players. They're basically looking like they're getting close to their prime.
Yeah, absolutely. The more that these guys play together, the better they're going to be. And they're bringing back the same tank line that they had in the last tournament today in green, as well as bringing in a new, sort of new support line. It's like in Pascal this time around, who I believe were on the Regen roster prior to this, but were benched in favor of other supports. And now they are taking center stage. And I can't wait to see what they're going to bring to the table. Regen, of course, would love to get themselves a top 4 finish in this tournament to improve on their standing from the last one. And of course, the first team in their way is Kracked Katz, a team that has, I assume, been around in the open division scene for a little bit. They haven't really had that big break yet. I think Regen is a solid team to sort of really test yourself against. Definitely not like the best of the best in a tier 3, but definitely a formidable foe.
Definitely have to agree. And interestingly enough, our first map is not a control. So that means being on King's Row will be defining how they try to set the momentum forward. There is not a scarier map to play than King's Row first, because of just how heavily brawl it is, or I think how popular it is, that if you lose it, you're kind of sitting there like, well, what do we do now? We've just lost one of the maps that we always scrim.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting seeing both these teams play maps that I think they're both very, very comfortable on. Of course, we have watched the Today Ryan Green Diva combo that has come up clutch for this team in the past. And I'm excited to see what is most likely going to be a return to form for Regen. I think they love to play that sort of brawly comp. And again, Kracked Cats are a little bit of a wild card. We're going in, don't know too much about what they bring to the table. There are a few names there that are vaguely recognizable, Dylan, Deco, to start, but I think this is a team that could really bring out anything. And we've seen the sort of line on what is considered acceptable on King's Row get more and more faded over time. Teams have brought out Wrecking Ball. Teams have brought out sort of more divey compositions, more pokey compositions. It's not the Ryan Zarya safe haven that it used to be.
Nah, and part of me, well, no, all of me is very excited for that soul effect, because that means a lot of teams sometimes just walk out with the most randomest things. I've seen like people walk with Wrecking Ball and Hog, interestingly. Sometimes they just want to go both random supports, maybe a Moira Zenyatta, and it brings a lot of variety, and that allows teams to experiment. And if you don't feel comfortable, you can always just go back onto kind of the typical things of what you're used to and what you feel more comfortable with. But I think when it comes down to King's Row, it's really just that idea. What you're comfortable with, and you'll be feeling fine, especially with everything being such tight corners. I find it so weird how this map feels like it's all about brawl, but yet it works for basically any type of composition.
It can work for a lot of things, but it does favor itself to that sort of Rhine-centric brawl comp. More often than not, you will find yourself in a very close quarters battle, which is why the Rhine Diva, Cassidy, May, it all just works extremely well. And that's what we're going to be seeing, at least as far as the first hero selections go. Ski Coops, I saw, was hovering over that Doomfist at the start. Want to keep an eye out on that hero pick. Ski Coops' Doomfist is definitely no joke, but is going to move over to the May to start things off here. So unless there is a last-second swap coming out of Kracked Katz, we should be looking at Derpy and Ski Coops on those Mays to be able to set the rest of the team up with those May walls.
I wouldn't be too surprised regardless, though I am a little bit upset just to be able to see this typical brawl come out. These players have so much talent that I can really see them running anything, and just brawl feels like it's so static. Though this May wall is very early, catching them out, and they've lost their Baptiste. We're seeing the side of, well, the Cats kind of having going back to their own spawn room as they get caught out. That first headshot was absolutely phenomenal from Shade to kind of end that fight immediately.
Yeah, you just can't do anything when you lose your Baptiste early. Is such a big part of the healing in your comp. And I mean, look at the difference now between Pascal and Critical. Goes down so early that he has a significant advantage in the amplification matrix moving up. It's probably going to have it again in this fight.
Now, when moving out, they've already caught out the Reinhardt, though the counter Maywall is going to be even, making Regen kind of struggle. Shade's able to take that win onto Snow. Now with the window kind of helping into that damage, we're seeing Ski Scoop be caught out. Now we're seeing the Cats now have room to be able to kind of push in, though Pascal still being able to pump in that damage and healing. They seem to just be able to kind of bring it back, take down that shield, and eventually melt them down. Even Dylan is just not going to have much when it comes to just being staggered, and it's a little upsetting. That poor baby Diva.
Yeah, Ski Coops has been incredibly aggressive when it comes to the May wall. It generally has been the first May wall out, and it has been incredibly good on the side of Regen so far. Just having that initial disruption, even if you don't get anything out of it, you force resources out of Kracked Katz in order to get around it.
Now they're taking a really early push. That Maywall blocks it off, but Shay still has a high noon. Has to cancel it out from that fear, but the shatter being used to take out Dylan. The counter backwards, though, is going to slow things down. The entirety of Split today is no longer with the team. It even got solo Blizzard, rudely enough, but it seems it's just what Cats need as they caused them to make some mistakes. Now with the Blizzard being used out from Regen, they're trying to slow things down, but it's hard for Scoop to kind of bring this out alone. Able to find out Dylan, but there's just no one else to kind of follow up on those picks, and now we're going to be seeing the Cats win this point off. Though messy, it still worked out in their favor.
I think Regen got a little bit too comfortable there. They got a little bit too free-flowing in their brawl, allowed their core to sort of separate, and then Kracked Katz, I mean, showed that they are not at all a pushover team. They were able to separate out the members that had kind of gotten themselves away from the rest of the team today, for example, isolate them and pick them off. So that will unlock the point in a pretty decent time bank, about 4 minutes, and they're going to try and use the Amp Matrix to push out of this choke point.
Man, they're already having to miss it out. They decide to want to go for that Ryan Diva Bomb combo. However, Pascal's just going to immediately counter with her own window, take out the Reinhardt, and give themselves room to just move forward. This is Alpha Chat energy as they use that Maywall to kind of almost take out Dylan, but it just helps to pick out Snull. So, they at least take full control of the point. They can now move the momentum around, but you losing out Shade's gonna hurt. They already are starting to retreat just to kind of form back.
Again, Regen, I think, is already in the we're the better team, we can get away with whatever mentality. Shade goes for a big flank on the Cassidy, trying to just maybe get a pick off onto Deco or Critical. Gets caught out by Dylan on the rotation, and that is why now they have to give up so much space.
Look at that, they're just barely able to get that high noon out and take out today through the shield. This early push has gone to their favor as they're managing to kind of split their attention, make them cause those mistakes, and pretty much they're going to be freely able to capture the second point without any form of contest, but Regen, they're having troubles consistently taking these fights.
Yeah, they are. They are getting sort of caught out here. Now it's Kracked Katz going for the crazy flank plays. It was nice of Mead to move along with Snarl to make sure that he had a Rhine shield for the high noon. But now Shade's going to try and equalize.
Hey, they do manage to find out Deco, and the Shatter hitting fresh air today is going to be frozen, but able to survive and be fine. They now throw this bomb out, combined with their own Blizzard. That's basically a guaranteed team fight. You can try and wall that off, Derpy, but really you're only delaying the inevitable, but yet you still escape.
That was a little unfortunate on the side of today. Got frozen in the middle of the Earth Shatter animation. So that is no longer an ultimate that you have available, which would have been really nice considering Mead used his. That would have been a massive advantage. Instead, now it's Kracked Katz that are coming in with the advantage of both support ultimates.
They're using that window on the payload. It's like a movable flat screen TV. It's not often you see that, but hey, it's working out. Though they're now taking this fight early. The Silent Barrier is used from the cast to be able to kind of counteract this. Meat does get frozen, but the counter charge is out, going to be able to hit out today. Though Shade able to kind of find out Snow. It's in a very uncomfortable space as Dylan's going to be able to throw that bomb out. However, it goes a little bit too far. Without the tank onto Regen, they're already struggling to be able to play that front and ground, having to give up space, while today is immediately returning to the fight. So now it's going back to that 6v6. There's nothing to worry about. And Leak does have the Sound Barrier combined with Skeep on Blizzard. Well, they're just going to be able to feel fine, feel that confidence as Shade's able to take out 2, and they move forward. That was an amazing regroup just to set back the momentum, even if Shade somehow dies to the booping Lucio.
Yeah, you get the picks you need to get the fight win, so it doesn't matter that much if you're Shade. You'll be able to respawn right back up and get with the rest of your team with the help of Lyke's speed boost. And you didn't even have to use the beat or the blizzard there. It was just the engage from Regen that took Kracked Katz off guard. So now you have that for this fight. But it's Mead with a massive Earth Shatter to open things up.
What a poor soul. Lands a nice shatter, but it's just not enough. The blizzard, everything used just out of panic. Even this bomb solely for green to be able to remag. I mean, I can understand it. I definitely get it. But that shatter hurts. The immortality kept them up.
That sucks for Mead. You use the shatter and don't get any kills off of it. But now look at the ult charges for Regen. You force him to use so much just to be able to stay in this. Now you just have to deal with Shade's high noon and you have a blizzard.
Although they lose Shade, that's going to be a massive issue just to be able to move forward. Now the Sound Barrier from Deco is going to allow them to move forward. They have the full confidence of 1,000 suns just to be able to shine bright and keep moving forward. Now we're in a staggered phase where Pascal needs to immediately die. They want to slow it down, give the rest of their team a chance to be able to kind of respawn and come back. Even Shade on the Widowmaker trying to get a little sneaky peek, but not going to be able to get that chance. This is now where they're at a major disadvantage. They have to try to get this first initial pick if they want anything to be able to come back. Today's already at half health. The Blizzard's used, so anyone coming out not inside that immortality is going to be picked off. Scoop's already taking a massive amount of damage. The screen it's just caught out. Even the bomb from Dylan's going to start cleaning people up. Well, now with that shatter coming out from Mead, it's just not enough. They just weren't able to kind of stack together, walk out as a group, just split. Not the ultimate favoritism, if you ask me.
It was not, and once again, we see the effects of having to use 5 ultimates in one fight there from Mead. They were so depleted, Regen, in the resources that they had to deal with the engage, the push from Kracked Katz. And because of that, when they engaged, I mean, Shade tried the high noon, was immediately pounced on by every member of Kracked Katz, got taken out, and they had nothing else. They tried to regroup, but unfortunately, the ultimate advantage was just too much in the favor of Kracked Katz. So they managed to push across with 39 seconds still on the clock. Having that time bank is so important because now Regen, I'm sure, is looking to send a message with their own attack. But, I mean, that turning point there was the shatter by Mead. Even though you didn't get any kills off of it, you forced Regen to use so much to just to stay alive for another fight, inadvertently dooming them for the next one.
Man, I almost found it a little funny just how many times Shade was kind of picked out very early. It almost was a little bit comedic, as if Shade was just moving out like, don't worry guys, I've got this, and then just immediately swears out just because they get picked. Though running out with the same composition, this means they have now they're not prepared against what Katz have been running, and they're going to be ready to kind of run some counterplay. Maybe they have some new ideas, but it's mattering how you break through this choke. This is often what can end those fights. They get a nice Maywall off, but Shade goes a little bit too far out, doesn't have the team, though this early fight is taken up against Mead. They're getting a little frozen, but the Immortality is able to keep them up. They want to take rotations, but the Baptiste is struggling to keep up Mead, and it's just not enough. So now today is feeling great. Not going to make you live till tomorrow as they're just pushing forward, though their shield still taking a massive amount of damage, so they're not being able to push forward until the Lucio arrives. Eventually, they're being able to force off the Katz off the point. They still have room to come back, as you already see Mead kind of playing at this corner angle, prepared, though the Maywall is going to slow them down. They already got 2 ticks, but now they're pushing in. Window used, they're looking to use it to the great advantage. That shatter comes out, hits the shield, but Dylan just way too far inside the enemy team. Same with Mead. They don't get the value from their own team's window. Now the Maywall blocking it off, meaning they are getting no value. Though they are being able to stall this out for an incredible amount of time, even getting a couple picks with it, they don't touch the point. On top of that, Maywall is just way too high up for Blizzard just to be able to detect you.
It is way too high, and unfortunately now, Kracked Katz are forced to cede space. They're going to allow this payload to push through the choke point, which is honestly one of the strongest choke points in King's Row, if not like the entire game. So, the recontest, while I understand the thinking behind it, I wonder if it was the best idea in the long run, as now you have given so much space to Regen.
They do seem to just want to walk inside the backline, put some damage into the supports, but they're not really able to follow up. Skeet's own Blizzard does get taken out, but with Mead being gone, they don't really care. So they're needing to throw out this bomb to try to make it even, but being behind the payload is not going to help you in any sense. The rest of your team on the side of Katz are now having to retreat. There may be a Reinhardt gone, but honestly, I think Green is just playing that main tank role absolutely beautifully as a diva.
I have to give a quick shout out there to Dylan. Got the eat on the Blizzard off on Ski Coops. As a diva enthusiast myself, I have to give a shout out whenever I see it. But unfortunately, the rest of the team had pushed in so far to try and make this high noon from Snarl work, and it just was not going to happen. Now, we're closing in on the end of point B, and this is a big old time bank. They're forced to drop back because of the amplification matrix, but I mean, Regen are steamrolling through this map so far.
Hey, look, they're still going to come out with massive ego, though that Blizzard is going to catch them out today. Doesn't have the team to be able to save. They've managed to trade out by getting out Deco, and eventually Pascal's able to put damage into Derpy. But look at this, the Cats still have their Reinhardt up until I'm wrong, and they just walk in, freeze, put damage onto Mead, and eventually mirror it down. And that's an amazing way to kind of adapt after losing your own main tank, which sometimes can mean a defeat in Brawl.
Regen just has not been stopped throughout this entire map, really. They've been slowed down at times, but they have been on a solid trajectory towards the end of this map from the very beginning. We gotta figure out how to do it, but that is a 6-man shatter from today. Everyone from Kracked Katz hits the dirt.
No bueno. They even managed to shade. They froze shade. Noon. I mean, you gotta ruin something, you know. At least you say you got that shatter on us, but we stopped your high noon. So that's a little bit of just a kind of, you know, pop up the collar. You feel great about yourself. The only issue is now going into this next fight, Ski has the Blizzard, and you're all running out as the team. Can Dylan eat it? That's what you're looking out for, though this is a 5v6. They're waiting for their Hanzo to return. Even Pascal having to just retreat for a tiny bit. Almost got picked playing onto that high ground. Now with the 6v6 returning back into the fight, they're looking for any opportunity that they have, but today is frozen off. Has to get hit by that high noon. Cancels out the Blizzard. They're not going to be having it for any next fight as it gets canceled out. The window broken, and Cats move forward to stop this push and lower down the time bank.
Snarl says it for Kracked Katz there. They are not able to get the Blizzard off. That's what they were looking for, their win condition for that fight, and it gets taken away in the blink of an eye without using any, well, they use the high noon, but any more ultimates on the side of Kracked Katz. So they still have the beat, the Blizzard, the bomb, the shatter. They have a lot of tools here.
Now they move out. That bomb goes a little bit too far, and it seems that they're using the sound barrier to play forward. Although the big issue comes when that Blizzard lands. Now the bomb kind of stops them from being able to do much, and Mead charges a little bit too aggressively. Now Today has so much room to be able to push forward with the confidence. They're not really worried. They're even going to use their own Maywall to block off the window, use that solo shatter onto Cassidy, and push this payload without a care in the world. Though the Wrecking Ball is able to come back to be able to put in that stall, Shade is able to immediately melt it down with the help of Pascal. Now it's time just to lower down this time bank as much as you can. It's going to be more of a struggle to win it out, especially with Shade's own 2K. I guess it's just not enough when, well, you just get melted down by the DPS talent. 2 minutes and 59 seconds against around a minute. That could be either a really good win condition or a very scary they cap all 3 points somehow.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to this attack from Kracked. They're gonna start off first with the ones with a minute on the clock. You've got to get something good done with a minute. 3 minutes to 1. It is a sizable advantage for Regen, but it isn't something that is unwinnable. You can definitely overcome that advantage if you're Kracked, but you have to get something done here. And my worry is it took them a couple of tries to be able to push through and break through that first point defense of Regen. So they've got to change something up in their approach here so that they can try and push through without using any ultimates to aid them in that. Because, I mean, you're probably not going to have the chance to build up very many ultimates. Only a minute on the clock. You get 2 fights max, maybe. But Regen, they're going to be coming out on the same thing they have always been playing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It has worked well for them so far. You just got to make sure that you don't give Kracked some momentum, because as their attack showed, if you give them the momentum, they're going to run with it for a long time.
I definitely have to agree. Also, just being a bit more prepared. We're not going to be seeing the monkey walk out. You were a little bit cuckoo in the brain if you truly thought so.
You do see a Widow.
Yeah, I mean, the Widow is longer than we truly expected, looking to just take those peaks. They're going to be playing for those sight lines, and they find out Shade. That's incredibly dirty. You've now given yourself the advantage, though, that immortality able to keep up. Mead, who was frozen for a second, they do have the full advantage, as Leak is somehow just redditing on top of them, even getting that stagger onto the Baby Diva. It's absolutely beautiful. I thought Snow was going to be able to get more room, but they just play forward.
Like just sees Snarl get the headshot off on the Shade and goes, ha, that's cool, watch this though, and just Reddit Lucio's all over him. What a beautiful play from the Lucio of Regen to keep them alive, and now once again, the shatter from Today.
What a shatter to come out as Today's able to take out Snow. They even built up that bomb last second, drop it down. You're not going to have any room to touch that point. And what a good way to stop that push. Snow's Widow was a risky play, and while it didn't work, it could have in different opportunities. I think we both can agree to that. But Regen had a beautiful opportunity to adapt, and they took it forward.
It was very close to working. I think I have to give a shout out to Snell for being extremely patient in the way that he played it. Tried not to make sure that anyone saw him until he was able to peek out, get a clean shot, get the headshot onto Shade. However, once he got that headshot, the rest of the team did a fantastic job of making sure that there was no sight lines for the Widowmaker. Snarl had no opportunity to get anything else off of it, so when the rest of Regen pushed up, the rest of Kracked pushed up to try and take advantage, they were still without a majority of their damage. They didn't have the Widowmaker, any real Widowmaker shots coming in. You just didn't have the sight lines. So, they managed to bend but not break, something that they were very good at in this map, and push back and force just nothing. No ticks, no nothing for Kracked, which means now they have to hold here for 3 minutes. They have swapped Mead onto the Orisa, which is going to help them be a lot more stationary. I'm not sure how good this is for taking the aggression of Today, though.
Gonna have to rub my tiny beard when it comes to this idea. Shade's already running out onto the Hanzo, which is really a good counter. Eating out that hole, it's going to be massive as they use that Maywall to clear up space, stop the poke, and put pressure onto the point. Now with that Maywall going out a little bit too far, they're able to get the freeze onto Dylan and just waste down their resources. Somebody has to touch the point. They're now forced and losing out Snow in the panic, especially with their D.Va being gone. It's just one big collapse as they're not even able to go down with the very few people that they had. Regen taking out King's Row, showing that they are not going to be losing very easily.
Yeah, I just feel like you needed meat on the Rhine there. I mean, sure, you had been getting sort of beaten in the Rhine 1v1, but Orisa, just as a character, isn't built to be able to take the aggression of a Reinhardt. She just gets run over or forced to back up, which is exactly what happened. Regen used the speed boost, they ran into the Orisa, and she was forced to back up, forced to cede space, or else was just going to get completely destroyed. And when you're in that kind of situation, I mean, that's the worst thing that you can do, right? You have to be able to hold your space, because if you let Regen take control of the point for even a little bit, that's game over. And unfortunately, you ceded that space to them, and you had no real way to get it back.
Yeah, it was a kind of missed opportunity on the side of Kracked. They definitely had a bigger issue, just kind of, I guess, building that momentum long term. They had it, but once Regen kind of calmed down, set themselves up, they were able to bring it back. But this is now where Star Esports, we get a kind of thumbs up when it comes to changes. As if you didn't know, we'll be having a map ban, meaning that, well, Regen gets to be able to pick any type of map and ban it. So that can be Hanamura, that can be Ilios, anything that they want inside our own pool, and we won't be trying it out. And I think that is very much kind of defining on how Cracks want to play. I think first map is very defining to see how teams work. I think we now can see both of the weaknesses going in and out of both sides, but I'm wondering, what does Cracks want to run? They can basically pick any map type that isn't hybrid again. So what do they do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen a ton from Cracked Katz yet today. We saw them play the traditional King's Row composition, and it was decent, right? I mean, they were able to, at times, be able to stand up to Regen. It looked like for a while they were sort of trading blow for blow and standing up to it, but then I think Regen sort of pulled up their big boy pants and were like, okay, let's take this a little bit seriously. I mean, frankly, that's what I think. I think Regen, after getting a couple of easy holds off on the first point for a while, they sort of let their guard down and were like, well, we're the better team here. We can relax a little bit. And Cracked Katz, they punished them for their hubris. So then Regen decided, okay, we're going to take this seriously again, and then just kind of rolled from there. I think when it comes to what is coming up next, Cracked Katz has a lot of opportunity to try new things, try different comps, or force Regen onto other comps. I don't think you're going to lose the Brawl 1v1, the Brawl Mirror, as it was. But depending on what you feel comfortable with as a team, there's a lot of opportunity here. The only rule is you can't play another hybrid map. So Regen decided to ban Gibraltar, which means, it says to me, they're trying to keep things off of dive as much as possible.
I mean, I fully respect it. I think some of the bright sides when it came to Cracked Katz was just how forward and as a team they were ready to play. And, you know, that you can give them kind of an MVP vote down in this kind of description if you're interested. Because, you know,
MVP.
some people in Cracks I definitely think have been looking good, especially Dylan, Deco, Mead, who have been working as a team, so I definitely respect banning out Gibraltar, but that doesn't mean they're not going to pick a map where any form of dive isn't possible, because Nepal has a lot of opportunities for being able to run out any form of rush, brawl, if you consider them the same thing. They're not, your opinion, not mine. Double shield, it's a lot of variety.
It is a lot of variety. I've said this before, but I love how control maps are able to keep the sub-maps different to lend itself to different comps. I think, there's a lot of opportunity to run a lot of different stuff on Nepal. On no singular map does one comp just reign supreme, whether that's Shrine, Sanctum, or Village. We see teams running different things against each other all the time, and I think that's what That's what Cracked Cats are looking for, right? They want to try and force things off of the mirror. They want to maybe get into a situation where they can play a comp that is specifically trying to counter Regen's comp. We are going to start off onto Shrine here. Let's see what both teams are thinking as they come out of spawn. And we're seeing more brawl from Cracked Cats, but Regen are changing things up with a bit of Wrecking Ball action. Ski Coop's currently showing the Echo as well.
This is what I've been waiting for. I love Wrecking Ball so much. I love this entire composition because it's all about just working as a team, being able to shut things down. And if you're just kind of not calming, you're not playing Overwatch the way it's meant to be played, then you're not going to be able to win. The Brawl is fundamentally going to be able to take a lot more control, and maybe Deco's going to be able to kind of move the momentum into their favor, but it matters how you engage. It's basically going to be a rock, paper, scissors, and who's going to be able to throw out the rock, who's going to throw out the paper. Those are the questions we got to be asking ourselves instead of like what's meta or not. Bo, the dive is now slowly starting to get in. We are seeing the Cats slowly just trying to find out anyone who's caught out of position. Today's able to just kind of escape, and it seems they're more worried about getting control of that point. Even if today's in their backline, they have that immortality, they're perfectly able to peel in for themselves. And the moment that they try to rush on, surprisingly enough, we are going to see Scoop use the stickies, put a bunch of damage in, and then not only does Shade kind of come in, but Pascal's able to pump in that damage. They're able to win out that point.
This kind of comp is the ultimate test for a Brawl comp. Cracked Cats has to try and stick together, stay as a unit, because that is how they are the most powerful. But while they're doing that, Today is getting pile drives on them, rolling through them, forcing them out of position. Ski Coops is poking in from the top, Shade from the side. There's just so many places of damage and places of disruption that you have to deal with. And unfortunately for Cracked Cats, they weren't able to hold up the first time around.
Hey, but they're moving in. They now know what to expect, and already they're just pushing forward with that window, trying to take out the Brig. But the issue is that Meat was all alone and then gets picked out and punished for it. Though the Transcendence is forced out as they were taking a lot of damage, they're still being able to pump more in, getting that room out evenly. Playing the Brigitte, which is by far my most hated hero, is able to move forward with Today spinning to winning. It's almost like those two line whips with giant ends, or being able to pump in a lot of damage.
It's so difficult right now for Cracked Cats. Every time they try and do what the Brawl comp does, which is press W, aggress, and just mow down a member of the other team just through a close range prowess, the other members of Regen just collapse on them. Now Ski Coops is going to try and show Mead how it's done on the Rhine.
They are taking very early. That Blizzard does manage to kind of slow things down, stop the copy from getting any value, and even that pulse bomb is going to be in. Dylan's going to throw out that bomb top of the May wall. Though it does manage to split them up, we are going to be seeing Regen not give it up as they use the mines. Though that Shatter is going to find out Today, stop them. But Pascal, the true savior, the love of the life, as they take out Mead, Shade coming in to be able to kind of take critical. They're just not able to work as different units. They are somehow just being split up, broken down, and eventually they're just not going to be having a team when it's last fight. Sure, the Wrecking Ball is already getting set up, trying to come back, but they're at a massive disadvantage. The rollout even messes up a tiny bit, and Shade's going to manage to get that kill the moment the payload is just finished capturing. And look at that, Regen, they're looking great.
They're looking incredible, and I'm a little disappointed on the side of Cracked Cats. They really didn't show very much ability to adjust when it seemed like their comp was getting countered. It just wasn't working. The Brawl comp can work into that kind of comp, but you have to be able to stay together and be able to effectively aggress on the Wrecking Ball or the Brigitte or someone on that comp without getting picked off yourself. They weren't able to do it, and they showed no real ability to adjust and swap off of that comp after that happened. Now we're seeing some adjustments, though, on round 2. In Sanctum, we're seeing a double shield comp from Mead and Dylan. They're going to try and set up Snarl here on the Hanzo, while it is Regen's turn on the Brawl.
Oh no, the Maywall's already caught them out, and they're pushing forward, but Critical still goes down? I mean, that's a very big early bake to stop the double shield from being able to move forward. Now they're going to be having issues waiting for Critical to come back. And this point uncaptures right now. So they're already going to be able to start getting time to their bank. We see them making that rotation, but they're caught out. They are relying more on these line of sight angles, but then natural cover gets played until Pascal gets a little bit too eager, gets a little bit shot, or, well, not a little, just an immediate headshot, and it's going to be slowing down this fight. The Brawl now has no room to be able to push forward and has to just back up as far as they can, letting the double shield move forward. They try to use the Maywall to get on top of the high ground, but it seems that today's just a little bit too big to move forward. Now they are struggling with inside their own death box, a grave built by themselves, and the point's already recaptured. Though Pascal's able to return, being able to pump in the healing, and they managed to get to the high ground on a second attempt. They need to capture this point or really take the fight. They're losing a lot of time as they're slowly waiting for their team to regroup and work as together. Now with this rotation, they want to be able to play. It seems they want to rotate all around the small cubbies. And Kins are doing an amazing job of just counterplaying it as they immediately just go right behind, going in their own corner, even pop out their window and dragons, which forces them not to be able to work as a team. Pascal even has to use that window from long range. Today is able to get that immortality to save himself before Critical was able to take them out, and now it seems that the double shields are the one with inside their kill box that they put themselves in, not able to rotate fast enough or quick and or really efficiently enough just to be able to escape this brawl as they move forward and they take control over the point.
Well, that was just some incredible ring around the rosy, wasn't it there? They were just taking laps around Sanctum, trying to chase each other down. Eventually, Regen are able to use the Amp Matrix from Pascal in order to get a couple picks and start forcing down the members of Kracked Katz, but they got nearly 50% of the point before that would happen, so I would say that's success.
But look at that! They use a Shatter in the sound barrier to basically ignore the bongo! And the bomb has placed down, meaning that they can't move forward, though luckily enough, Critical is there just to be able to pump in that damage to those who were called out by the Blizzard, meaning the double shield doesn't have to worry about anything. They're gonna capture the point, basically only losing maybe 10% worth of time.
I love Overwatch, and on one hand, you have just like the most best laid strategies that take hours to come up with, and other times it's just, let's just all press Q at the same time. And that is what happened. 5 ultimates at once, make it 6. This now is going to get a massive Dragon Strike on the engage. It's taken down 2. The Blizzard from Ski Coops is going to equalize a bit. Derpy out of the fight now, but the advantage is very much on the side of Kracked Katz here, and that's not what you want to see if you're a Regen fan. 80% and counting. I don't know if there's enough time for Regen to get a full reset here. They have to try and make things work with the broken comp they have now.
Hey, look at them. They're not scared to push forward. They're even sacrificing Ski Scoop just to be able to push forward. Shade managed to find out Dylan, but they lose out their own tank. It's now last fight. They have 3 people who are able to touch this point, but 2 are stuck in a cubby. 1 just got back into their mech, and they have to bring something out of their pants if they want to be able to win this. Meat just accidentally gets kind of LOS somehow, falls off the map. Fleek bringing back that potential. They need that Orisa to be able to be on that point. Only one with the hull. As Scoop returns, being able to play that Doomfist slam down, they bring it back without a care in the world. And the ability to adapt has just been showing on the side of Regen.
That's insane from Like. I have to give a shout out to him. So many Lucios in that situation would be like, okay, I've got to get back to spawn, try and get everyone back as soon as possible. I got to make sure everyone's healed up. Everyone's got critical on my screen right now. And Like just goes, what if I just go around to the side and boop off the Orisa? And great stuff. We're not out of the woods just yet. Green is already down, and they're looking to take down today in addition.
Yeah, but they're using the sound barrier very early to enable their own Doomfist to walk in. Though the bongo immediately melts down anyone committing to that dive. Now the point switch to the side. Shade can try his best, but honestly, Hanzo isn't as good. Remember, he lost that 1v1 to Genji in the animatic, cinematic. So we are going to be seeing Kracked Katz being able to bring this into one final map, and by far, it's going to be the scariest one for them. Village is not one that I think is very fun if you're trying anything.
Especially, I mean, this is the most brawl-centric map in Nepal. The point is surrounded by walls on all sides. The sort of doorways into it are perfectly spaced out so that an entire Mei wall can just cover it up completely. That's why we see Regen immediately move back onto it, as well as Shade on the Symmetra. I'm curious to see if he's going to stick onto it, because you can sort of set up the microwave there with the Symmetra turrets. That's exactly what's going to happen. We see a mirror on the other side. This didn't work out too well for Kracked Katz last time.
Yeah, but the issue is going into those Mei walls, splitting both sides. It seems Kracked Katz are going to have the first advantage, throwing out their turrets, but eventually they're the ones who have to back off. So they're at a massive disadvantage when trying to take over this point, splitting off their own angles and trying to use this Mei wall to their advantage. Well, they're entirely split, though Regen able to play around. Eventually, Shade's able to take out Derpy, and this gives Today enough reason to just press W and move forward, finding out both Snull, Mead, Pascal wanting to get some love inside that kill feed as well.
Snull and Derpy sort of go around to the other side against the rest of their team. They were on the left, everyone else was on the right. I just don't understand why you do that. It is most likely, unless Derpy gets an insane headshot off with those icicles, you're just not going to get as much value split up against a good brawl comp as you will if you all stick together.
Now, this window being able to block them off. Luckily, they took a TP on the point, and they're basically going to be living carefree, even using their own window. The shatter gets blocked, and now they pop out. Snull's big wall, over 1,000 damage, and they're going to feel fine. Though they are able to rotate, kind of play around on the point, even getting a charge onto Mead. They're struggling to play as a group, somehow forcing them back. Somebody comes out just fast enough to be able to peel in for Today, but unfortunately enough, Derpy's using that Blizzard, which is kind of the key word for I'm going to end the fight right now. You can stall for all you want, as we're seeing the rest of Regen do, but in the end, you've lost it. You're going to be able to bring that to 61. So now at least you come back. You have a Blizzard of your own, then another window bomb. You got a lot of room to come back.
You do. It's a very smart TP from Snull to start off the fight from Kracked Katz. They are able to just TP straight up onto the point. They win that positional battle, and from that moment forward, I mean, it's just as good as Regen playing a man down. You have to try and play into the Mei walls, into the Symmetra turrets. Now they're going to try and push in on their own, but Skikoop's Blizzard is eaten again. Dylan is hungry today.
My goodness, Dylan is a madman. Although Leaked seeming wanted to just use their own talents to be able to even things out, they used the bomb and the charge just to be able to make that space to shatter. Gets no room to be able to find anything. Now this is one messy fight, as we're seeing Today get countercharged from the back. They even dropped the shield. Now with this bomb being able to freely use on point, Dylan's able to get that 2K, secure this fight, and Regen are sitting there thinking to themselves, what just happened?
Yeah, I think Regen were absolutely expecting to win the fight off of that, but Today gets a little bit too aggressive, pushes in a little bit too far, and when he goes down early, then Dylan has a free path to get a 2K with the Diva Bomb. That is not what you wanted to see. You now don't really have any ultimates probably coming up to this fight. With 70% and counting, this is probably the last really good chance that Regen has. If they lose here, they could very easily find themselves dropping this map to Kracked Katz. However, on the other hand, Mead is pretty close to the Shatter, and we're somewhat close to the Blizzard from Derpy, but there aren't very many ultimates coming up online for them either.
Yeah, it seems they're wanting to use that TP as a bait, popping this window out instead, hoping that they would rush onto it, but now they're just forcing the time to go to 99. They even managed to find out Scoop. Now with this Mei wall there, Pascal isn't going to be able to get much value off of this window, having to use that sound beer just to be able to protect Today for a little bit longer, able to find Derpy, but look at that Shatter, able to slam down and end everyone, as they only truly needed to get Today, but everyone else, well, that's just a benefit of society, as I'd like to say. Sure, the Far can try touching, but in the end, I'm guessing we're going to be seeing a tied series, as we see the Kracked Katz manage to win out on Nepal, showing that they still have a lot of fight within them, but I'm more interested to see how are Regen going to react to this. They are now they just lost one of the best maps. Well, not one of the best maps, one of the more fair control maps that I think you have a lot more diversity to play on.
Yeah, I think Regen got a little bit caught off guard by the aggression, the tenacity of Kracked Katz. I don't think you put too much on this team coming into this series, but man, did they just prove that they can stand toe to toe with Regen. They can take advantage of the mistakes that they make as a team. I think at the end there today, trying a little bit too much, too hard to play the hero, gets a nice pin off onto the Mei player of Kracked Katz, but then pushes up a little bit too far once again, goes down early once again, and Kracked Katz took advantage of it. And, you know, when the Reinhardt is down, the entire Brawl comp completely falls apart. So, Kracked Katz now have found themselves in a position with a tie series Regen on a bit of their back foot. And now they have to try and respond with their map pick. I'm curious to see what Regen want to do here. I think they are comfortable on the Brawl. We saw them play it in 2 out of 3 of the Nepal maps, but they got beaten on it both times. So I'm not really sure what they want to do here. Their Wrecking Ball comp was very clean. Kracked Katz tried to play Brawl into it, got beaten the whole time. I'm curious to see, maybe they want to stick on to that, try and get a map that'll favor that a little bit more.
It seems that they are going to be looking to go more onto Rialto, which I definitely think fits more onto the side that they work on. While we are seeing Kracked Katz, they're going to ban Oasis. They're just going to spit in its face because you can run Brawl and a Wrecking Ball composition, and it works, rather than just abusing it with Poke. So, now Regen have to try and play a map that is very famous for long sight lines.
Yeah.
That is going to be absolutely frustrating to go through. Do you know how hard it is to play Brawl and immediately you walk out, someone's shooting at you? It's annoying. Why is that even in the game?
Yeah, imagine people shooting at you in a game with guns. And why would you do that? I'm just sitting here, man.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to win the game. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, this was an instant pick from Regen. They're obviously super comfortable with Rialto. I think it opens up. I mean, you could play the Brawl again, of course. You always could. But like you said, yeah, that sort of second point bridge is one of the strongest spots for like sniper picks, long range pick, because you can stay up on the high ground, look out over the bridge, and the attackers have to close so much distance before they can really do anything to you. And meanwhile, you're just able to get pot shots in on their shields, on their bodies for a very, very long time. So I'm sure that both Regen and Kracked Katz have that in mind as they get ready to move into Rialto.
They do seem to want to have a side swap, so I think they're setting themselves up for a very nice condition. I think Rialto is one of those maps where you can definitely see a full hold in any kind of fight. Sure. Though these teams are very much even, I think. They've been going back and forth. They seem to have their own weaknesses and advantages that have been exploited at times, and now they're starting to kind of figure out how both these teams work, kind of like a boulder just smashing you into each other until one fits. I think it's going to be more important to see how Regen try to react, because they can push it for as far as they want to, but they're the ones who have to hold it in the end. So no matter what, they have to set themselves up for victory. They either capture the point with all 3 points, they manage to get a massive time bank, and they'll feel great, but it's all about defending and working as a team. And, well, Brawl doesn't really work that well against it, and I think it works more into the favoritism of that double shield or compositions that take more coordination. I'd be more surprised to not see them run out on a Wrecking Ball and abuse the fact that they can just kind of go silly and go ape.
Yeah, it is going to, we did see a side swap, as you mentioned, so I think that it is going to be Regen who are, on the attack now for the first time in this lobby. They're going to have to they're going to be setting the stage, setting the win condition early as we get ready to go in here. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Regen do now. They've been sort of knocked a little bit off guard here. I think, honestly, you're an established Tier 3 team. You have kept the same roster for the most part through the last time. You're going up against this tier 3 team that really hasn't had a ton of like widely recognized success. Obviously, probably a very established, very talented tier 3 team as we saw in Nepal. But you're definitely the favored team by a lot here. I think a lot of people were expecting this to be a fairly quick 3-0, and that is not where we are now. We are guaranteed to go for at least 4 maps. So now I'm very curious to see how Regen try and bounce back here. They're going to, at least right now, show the double shield on the attack. I'm not sure how much I love it. It's obviously a very slow comp. They are going to basically just move with the payload for the most part, and just try and get Shade and Ski Coops in position to really start popping off on the Ashe and Echo respectively. However, we have a lot of, on the other side, we have a double shield comp as well, except Derpy is going to be on the Hanzo, another long-range DPS to challenge Shade and Ski Coops in the sky, and Biko is on Brigitte for more healing, while Pascal is on Zenyatta for more damage.
I don't even know what I'm looking at. All I know is that I'm looking at 2 of the same compositions, yet different variations and styles, and that's going to be defining for how they move forward. This corner is going to mean a lot. Derpy does have the ability to immediately break down a Regen shield, and that's where you see them having to walk up with nothing, basically a little naked until the Sigma kind of drops it for a little bit. But they want to be able to play forward and play more aggressively, using Pascal's Discords as an advantage so they eventually melt down both of the support line, Derpy included. Now, look at that, the Orisa just struggling, same with the rest of the Katz. That's a good way to set yourself easy momentum. They are going to have room to be able to quickly come back to this point, but I think with the fact that they are having Pascal on the Zenyatta, even forcing Deco to have to switch over to kind of even up the damage, you set something up.
That was a beautiful halt from Today, by the way, to set up the fight win for Regen. They win the shield battle. Mead's shield goes down first, and as they try and retreat around the corner, he says, "Oh, no, you don't," pulls them all back. And now they have found themselves in the position to take first point at an extremely fast pace.
My goodness, they remind me of Scarface. They're just absolutely relentless. The moment that we're seeing the Katz kind of peek out, Shade is just like, "You looking at me? I'll take you out, eh?"
As it was an extremely fast first point capture for Regen now, and because we saw Kracked Katz try and go for the recontest, look at what they've given up here. They've given up access to this high ground as 4 members of Regen have gone up there and are going to try and contest Kracked Katz now as they try and get this positioning, and this cart is just going to keep on moving.
They're basically feeling fine. They want to win the fight before they move it out, but Dylan wants to try to end anything before they move out. Luckily, though, they managed to find out today, so there is no push that you can continue to attempt. They're just looking to set up, and they force Pascal's Transcendence. No, mi amor, you need it for when the fight truly starts. Because they even throw out the Bob, and it's just gonna poke at you. It's incredibly rude. So now Green, absolutely angry, wanting revenge. He's gonna throw out that Gravitic Flux Shade, using that Bob from the backside. It's gonna be able to poke through. Though the window does kind of help, the copy Bongo is gonna be able to pump in that damage. They just can't focus on everyone who is splitting their attention, and that's how they're gonna be able to capture the second point.
I think this really does come back to that first point loss. The fact that they went for the recontest, all died, and gave up the space to Regen. They were able to get on top of the high ground. They were interrupting Kracked Katz when they tried to get on top of the high ground, and they got free point push past that all-important bridge and choke point that we mentioned as being such a big part of Rialto. That's such a defensive chokehold, and you gave it up.
Now they're getting staggered continuously. They can't even take this fight anymore as Dylan gets picked off. Luckily, though, Critical finds Pascal, so you at least build that confidence until Shade says, "I find out Snow." Derpy reverse Uno cards you and says, "I find out Shade." They're going to be able to stop this push. This snowball is no longer going to continue, so at least they set themselves up until Leak wants to use that window. They are at this consistent tango where Regen don't want to give up their aggression. They don't want to give up so much space, and they are continuously to play forward the moment that they have an ultimate, even comboing that Holt with the stickies. Now with this 6v6, it's basically Derpy versus Scoops, as the Far wants to be able to put in a massive amount of burst damage, but in a fight where Regen has no ultimates, they are looking to just build it up as quickly as possible. This window gets played a little bit too far out, and they're pushing in. Immortality able to keep the Katz up for a little bit longer, and it seems that Deco's own Transcendence comes out a little bit too late, so the DPS, they gotta pull up their pants like Patrick Star, and they've gotta win this fight before it turned into something a little bit more steamrolly.
It does force out the double support ultimate from Kracked Katz, though. I'm not sure why Mead was playing up so far, trying to play a little bit of flankerisa action. It ends up punishing them, as now they don't have that Transcendence for this next fight. And Regen, I mean, look at all those check marks. You've got 3 already. You're going to get at least 2 more in Green and Ski Coops. So you're in such a disadvantageous situation right now. Derpy has to try and be aggressive with this barrage, or else if you don't get any picks with it early, this could very easily snowball out of control.
Though they're throwing this Bob out to be the front man to contest that point in the Transcendence.
Force out the trans.
Oh, it doesn't even help out today. That's a really unfortunate, because now Dylan, using that Gravitic Flux, slams down onto Shade. You can throw your Bob out, but the barrage is going to finish out anybody who tries to move in. Though missing entirely, and Scoop is going to just use those stickies to end it out. Pascal and the rest of the team are in such a bad position. They moved in with over 3 minutes. Now they're being staggered, having to try to move this out in under 2. And they're kind of having big issues, I think, going up against this Pharaoh, who is just continuously shooting them.
Yeah, the Derpy swap onto Farah has actually been really big. They don't have any really good counter to it. Shade has his eyes taken off of the Farah often, just because Derpy is playing sightline so well, and Shade is trying to get to the back line. Derpy is playing a very passive Farah style that makes it extremely difficult for hit scans to get that consistent value.
My goodness, so much environmental things taken out of the feed, and yet Derpy going to be the one that truly breaks it out, getting a 3K, and I don't know if you truly saw that, but Scoop walks in, gets that copy onto Critical, and then walks out, looking to the ground, very ashamed.
Regen has got to try something else here at this point. You've been stuck at this position for over 3 minutes, and yes, you have the Amp Matrix from Like, you have the Transcendence from Pascal coming up soon, potentially a Bob from Shade if you can get some good headshots, but more robust support line. Trade Shade to maybe a Cassidy. Q-Coops is on the Tracer now to try and put some direct pressure on the Deco, which is really good, but I don't know if it's enough.
Well, it seems to be just barely, as they throw that Bob out, and when the opponents try to collapse onto it, well, they just immediately die, and they're not going to have anything to kind of come back in. I mean, Pascal has a Transcendence, and Shade's coming up on the Bob, but there's a lot of buts, and you know, buts are for sitting. Yeah. This is Overwatch.
You could not have said that any better. I mean, that was such a cheap fight, too, for Kracked Katz. They basically only used the Bob there. Now with 20 seconds left, this is Regen's last shot, and you have 4 ultimates. You have both supports. You have the Barrage and the Gravitic Flux. So many impactful ults. Pascal only has 1 Transcendence. You can only do so much.
Yeah, and Mead is able to take out Shade the moment the fight starts. That window, well, it's not even gonna matter when the Gravitic Flux slams you down half health. They walk into it, able to use that barrage from the high ground. They have just put in a new level of aggression. My goodness, I've never seen Double Shield take so many forward pushes. Even with this Bob just point, there's a reason why they tell Bob to do something. He doesn't do anything. And now they have to try to stop this payload from getting anywhere close to that 3rd point, because that is not in a favorable position for the side of the defending area.
Yeah, at this point, I would feel better at Regen. I feel like if you're Regen, you are saying, okay, we've got to hold them at first or we've got to hold them at second. Because if you manage to let Cracked Katz get that second point, the payload stopped in a position that doesn't help the defense very much. Usually, if you are able to stop it just short of the payload, you say, okay, this is good. Our spawns are right outside of the payload. We can contest this for a while, try and get a playoff. But the cart stopped shy of that last corner, which means that is just so much more distance that the defense will have to try and travel to stagger on the point in a sort of last fight scenario. I think Cracked Katz have put themselves in a very favorable position with that last point hold, but we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves here. They still have to get past first point. They still have to get past second point. Both these things are very defensively favored, so there's still quite a few obstacles in their way to taking a lead in this series and putting us they didn't have this before. Has decided to really try and power up Ski Coops here instead of having that Discord orb from the Zenyatta.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had to take my temperature. Things are getting a little bit too spicy in this game. It's going close to the edge, and it seems that they're wanting to trade out their own Zenyatta for that Mercy, which I can definitely respect. Res is a viable thing. Derpy be going on to that far to try to take that mid-air fight, but they're relying more on Deco's Discords to pump in that damage. This is now where the payload's in a very kind of uncomfortable position, though they decide to just ignore that front room, let the Pharah push it, and they're going to take the counter spot. Though Snow not able to survive the OP stickies, as I like to call it, and they immediately move back to this frontline fight until, once again, stickies are absolutely disgusting. They do have somewhat control over the high ground, but without that Orisa being their front line, they seem to be a little bit too anxious to kind of risk dying.
The adjustment from Regen already paying dividends here. Ski Coop's damage-boosted sticky bombs have proven to be a powerful asset for this Regen squad. And again, takes down Derpy, is winning this Sky battle with ease now. I think Derpy has to either swap onto a DPS that can better deal with it, does go onto the Tracer, or I was going to say Deco has to get a Mercy up out their own. As it is, though, now you're going to try and win the fight on the ground, and you got to line of sight this Amp Matrix, obviously, from Pascal. But once you do, Critical will have a Amp Matrix of their own, as well as a Bob from Snarl. There's a good chance to push in here.
Hey, and they're going to be able to take it. They managed to get 2 picks onto the day, and using that window to their advantage. This payload's in a spot to where they truly cannot contest as a full team, meaning that Me's going to take full advantage of it, using that bongo, putting pressure onto Green, having to take that rotation. They now have to use that immortality as room to be able to push in, and now they have 2 Orisa, so hey, that's on the bright side. But that Bob, my goodness, they're in a very far spot, forcing both the support and DPS to kind of play in a weird spot. It doesn't even look like it matters as the frontline are able to not only use that Gravitic Flux, but the Bongo to great success. And that comes down to Scoop just being able to play that Orisa with the copy and helping the damage.
Yeah, and now Regen are in a very good spot. They were able to successfully recontest, and I mean, when you're in this situation, the trek to get back to the point from spawn, once again, it is so long. You see now how Regen are able to take positions on this high ground above Cracked Katz, and they have to move so far just to get themselves into position here. They have Transcendence, they have Gravitic Flux, but the positioning's on their side.
Yep, it seems that they want to use this Transcendence, try to sustain and recover it as much as possible, but they allow the res onto today, making this fight going back to something of even. Though, losing out Derpy is going to mean something in the long run. That Tracer's not going to be able to poke things out. Now this is just a frontline fight, seeing who's going to get that first pick onto the Orisa. Mead already having to use that Holt. They use that window, taking out Scoop. The Mercy just barely able to escape. Now they're having to play
Touch.
that angle.
Right.
Pascal's not even close to coming up onto 1, so they're having to just delay this as much as possible. But they are just rotating off this point, and if nobody touches it, 1 second, it's just absolutely gone. Luckily, though, Green is going to be that MVP, being able to sit there and grab it. Now, Meat, using that bongo in a very nice spot, is able to just let them push it in. They stop touching it for a second, and that's going to stop your chances for a full hold. I'm glad they're letting themselves die because the embarrassment would kill them regardless.
That's unfortunate. I gotta say, you're really depending on Today and Green to be able to keep on touching, tiptoeing on that point. And unfortunately, the pressure from Kracked Katz just pushes them off for that split second. They were under a meter to go already. So now, Kracked Katz, they were so close to getting full held there. They were about to go into overtime, but new life on this attack as they take priority on this first point. Regen, though, has almost every ultimate available to them.
Yeah, they're just gonna decide to say, let's hit Q and move forward, even using that immortality as an ultimate ability to save themselves from the pulse bomb. Now the side of Katz, they're immediately gonna lose this fight, just nothing you can do, and inherently a very cheap fight as well.
A very cheap fight. You only use the Gravitic Flux to help yourself push in. You will have all 4 of your other ultimates to try and budget in this last 90 seconds, and this is what we were talking about at the very beginning, Intel. These long sight lines. You have to travel so far if you're Kracked Katz here into an amplification matrix. Yeah, they're making the right decision here. You're not even going to try and cross the bridge into that amount of poke. Derpy goes down anyways. So, that is instantly 30 seconds off the clock here. We're going to go down to the final minute. You've got to get something done here.
Yeah, they use that pull. They're waiting for the Gravitic Flux. It seems they're focusing down the copy, stopping Scoop from being able to do anything. But they leave themselves open to the front line, who use the bongo, and they are pumping that damage in. They're not even able to kind of play the game. They just decide, let's reset, let's just try again. But on the bright side, Regen now no longer has any ultimate. They are building up to that Valkyrie, but comparably to a Transcendence, Pulse Bomb, everything that is just coming up, it's looking a little more favorable. Maybe they have an opportunity to push back in.
The ultimates are on their side. Derpy's going to swap back over to the Pharah now. This is an ambitious crossover as, I mean, there's so many shields that you have to try and break through if you're Derpy, but you have the Bob, you have the Transcendence, you'll have the Amp Matrix soon. You're going to use the Transcendence early to make sure that you can cross the point, and Bob, I think, is who they're going to try and touch, but doesn't get the touch off. It's going to force Dylan to come out instead. You force them back, but I don't know if it's enough.
I don't know either. Luckily, finding out Scoop means that they have to use that res. They've lost a big ability very early. You now have a chance to be able to look out as they are just entirely split. But that seems to just be the entirety of their point as Today plays that front line, looks to just contest the payload. While Green is in your back, using that Gravitic Flux, no critical, it's going to shut it down. That Bob's officially built, and they're going to be feeling great as they just shoot down your shield, shoot down your team. And it looks like Regen, well, man, we got to stop underestimating them even at times when they are looking weak, because no matter what, they're going to be able to win out on Rialto playing that double shield, which I didn't think they would be running out on, honestly. I kind of underestimated them, but, well, Green, I think, proved me wrong. Total MVP candidate.
I mean, I think Regen just proved themselves on the defense to succeed in ways that Kracked Katz, unfortunately, failed. Regen, they were able to come back and win the recontest on first point. Kracked Katz tried the same. They couldn't do it. Regen were able to take positions on the high ground on second point and just get that poke damage in onto Kracked Katz on their attack. Kracked Katz, they couldn't get on the high ground fast enough in order to take advantage of those positions. I think Kracked Katz showed a lot of promise in that fight. They showed the ability to play toe-to-toe with Regen, but in those key areas, Regen showed their ability to outperform Kracked Katz, and that ended up being all the difference there. Honestly, I think you gotta go back to that recontest on first point. Kracked Katz couldn't do it. Regen could. There took so much time off the clock for Kracked Katz. They were under the pressure of the clock for the rest of the game. And, Cracked, they couldn't do it and ended up giving up a lot of point presence, a lot of positioning moving forward.
And I really couldn't put it more into words, but something that's kind of coming into my mind is how how much do you think that it is important that your own team can have pop-off potential, to be able to play on their own? I think, well, Cracked Cats, they've been looking very great, and Dylan has been continuously, even as an off-tank, shining at these moments, eating ultimates, finding out
Sure.
picks. We're not seeing a lot of kind of more than just Dylan or at times just now. So how important do you feel that, like, because Regen, they're able to have at least Pascal, Shade, Scoop, Today, Green, basically everyone on their team is a playmaker at times. How important is that?
I mean, I think it is super important if you are Regen, just knowing that if things are getting tough, if Crack Cats are putting up a good fight, any member of this team can pull off the play that gets you back into it, whether that's Ski Coops getting a couple of picks, Today getting a massive shatter, Green with a big gravitic flux, Pascal just popping off on Zenyatta or Baptiste. Any one of those things could happen to get yourself back into it. Cracked Cats rely a lot, in comparison, on making sure that their laid plans go perfectly. If even a single thing goes wrong, that is probably it, barring, like you said, some big plays from one of their couple of playmakers, like Dylan and Snull. They are, if their plan gets messed up, it's kind of over for them. So I do think that just having that ability to have every member of your team just be able to pull off that clutch play in these situations, it's very important.
I definitely have to agree. We are going to get our map ban of the pick, and unfortunately enough, it's going to be Eichenwald. Oh, Eichenwald's one of the better, hybrid maps, but, I get it. I get it. It's a map that plays to region strength, so you want to just kind of flip the bird at them and say, no, 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 you don't play that. So, when kind of coming up to a new idea, it seems that region want to be going on to another hybrid map. They probably feel most comfortable on it. They're kind of just avoiding any form of 2CP, both of these teams, and I definitely respect it. So
Yeah,
that's why,
sure.
yeah, that's why the next map is going to just be Blizzard World. They kind of go down the list. They tried to go with Numbani, but that's not in the map pool, which is rigged. I just want to say Numbani is a good map, and everyone in Overwatch is just a hater. But still, Blizzard World in itself, I think Regen can kind of shine on it.
I think Regen can shine. We are going to be going to Blizzard World. That is where we are going to see Cracked Cats put their money where their mouth is here. They are down 2-1. Regen can put the series away with a win here. Cracked Cats trying to bring us to a decisive map 5. If any member of either of these teams has been sticking out to you, make sure you go down to the About section of the Twitch page, vote for your game MVP. You can vote for it right now if you want. It's open for the entire game. The winner of the MVP voting will be brought in to the call after the game is over for a quick interview. We can banter around, ask them some questions. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you get those votes in as we get ready to head into Blizzard World.
And I gotta say, for me at least, I truly want to just be able to talk to Green. I think Green and Like have been absolutely been showing their talents today. They've been playing consistently well, and I'm not gonna underplay the rest of Regen. I definitely think like Scoop and Shade have been doing great, but I'm loving kind of the passive play and kind of the silent killers that have been able to win those fights. While Cracked, maybe Dylan. Dylan's pretty cute, I gotta say. But how about you, Mr.
No follow up on that. Just cute. Just cute. You like him?
Yeah, he's cute. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't need any other reason. Okay. I mean, I could talk about how talented he is. Okay, but like looks make a little bit more different. I've never seen what he looks like, but just from the play style,
I respect it. I respect it for sure.
My goodness. But dividing, look at how these teams are running out. We're not seeing any type of really quick or divey type of attack. Rather, it looks like they may be playing a type of bunker or double shield. I don't expect Shade to walk out on the Bastion as much as I would hope for it. That Shade would rather play Overwatch 2, 6 years from now than I think ran out on the Bastion. But look at that double shield with the Pharah. How do you feel on these?
Well, what's key in this game is that in this iteration of this comp is Deco is on the Mercy here, is going to be supporting Derpy. We've seen Derpy play the Pharah. We haven't seen Katz play the Mercy, which means that there's going to be a lot more pressure here on Critical to make sure that Mead, Dylan, and Snarl are all topped up, because Deco wants to be with their Pharah as much as possible. Ski Coops, seeing this, is going to tell, like, okay, I need a Mercy too. So this sort of dogfight between the Mercy on Katz and the Echo Mercy on Regen is going to be key as Regen moves in for their first attack. Other than that, it is just about the same comps on both sides.
Man, I always tend to say Echo wins against the Pharah 1v1, but the Pharah just sometimes gets a bit more value in the long-term fight. We're already seeing the entirety of Regen struggling to stay alive. Both of the tanks at half health having to use that immortality because they're just not able to rotate without getting a rocket to them. Has to be able to bring it back, and they get a nice pick onto Mead. The Mercy now has to... What a beautiful wrench just to get that! It's not going to save the fight, but it's something to at least feel proud of as you're being able to bring back your Pharah to help try to take it out. They are still on the high ground. This first tick is taken. It seems they're more waiting for their own team. They're looking for an opportunity, and that opportunity was Critical using the window and Meat coming back onto the Wrecking Ball just to be able to move them around while Derpy follows through, taking out Pascal, taking out Scoop. The Bob going somewhere absolutely into the water. I think going for a good swim? Nope. Going to just kind of kill you. I think that's truly the answer of this. And look at that. What a beautiful way to bring back this fight.
It was beautiful. I was very impressed there for Katz, taking a bit of a page out of the Regen playbook. Bend but don't break. That is so difficult to do on these double shield comps because you don't have very many disengage tools, but you made it work if you're Katz. And because of that, I mean, already 2 minutes are off the clock with one fight. And because this is just such a slow comp from Regen.
Oh, look at that. They're using that bongo as room to move in. But I like to see that Gravitic Flicks walk out, but you get rocked in the face. You know, the song We Will Rock You is taken a little bit too literally with this game. It seems they have to use that Valkyrie combination to try to even it up, and the copy hits that Ash, but not going to get much of it. They're now having to just walk in. Derpy has the barrage, though. Nobody knows where Derpy is planning to use it, just kind of playing around and setting up. Regen don't have any room. They're using a lot of ultimates, but they're not really finding much. Bob, Gravitic Flux, Window, all split sides, and they're able to eventually find out three. There's just no barrage going to be used as you're sitting back into your spawn room. Like, should I have used that earlier? Should I just hold it? Who knows? Either way, we are going to be seeing that point get captured.
I mean, what a beautiful setup from Regen there. You had tanks on the left, Amp Matrix on the right, Bob in the back. It was such a great pincer coming out from Regen, and unfortunately, even though you had the barrage from Derpy, the Amp Matrix from Critical, you just didn't have time to process what was happening before you were already dead.
Yeah, now this is just one rude, long sightline fight. I mean, it's how you play double shield. I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but it's incredibly rude. They didn't even get a chance to try to set up on high ground. They're now playing on the payload, having to take those angles, just saying, come on, guys, listen, we're trying to move it a little bit. Today's wanting to play around this big giant pillar just to be able to have some natural cover. It's almost as if they're stuck behind a wall. Bob is in an unfavorable spot, but it does help Snell take out Leak in the barrage. Just more than enough to take today out. Now the entirety of Regen, well, they just got collapsed on. It was basically like a small kill box.
Some very well-placed ultimates from Katz to give themselves the advantage in this fight, and now they can take control of these high grounds. It's not quite as strong as the ones on Rialto, but these high grounds are going to be very difficult for Regen to push into, especially with their slow-moving comp. As they have to cross, it's going to be amplified by the fact that they simply can't move very fast.
for today. Looks like they're going to be dying yesterday. That was such a quick and aggressive push. They used the bongo just as that security. Now, that time bank's only going to be lowering down. And this is almost like what we saw, but opposite on the last map of Real. Seems that Katz are kind of playing more aggressive. They're taking the lead, and they're not really caring too much. While Regen, they're not even having an opportunity to take these fights. They're now moving in. They at least have that copy and both support ults to try to take it out. Seems Scoop's going to be able to take over that Sigma. Stop credit for taking too much room of the gravitic flux. Or that window. So at least that feels the bright side. Now with this Bob slowing them down, they're trying to just melt it down before the fight, but look at that. Meat's able to shield it, basically protecting your 7 ally. And, well, I don't know where exactly the the bongo was used, but it seems that today tried to take that air fight. It gets broken, but the front line basically able to play without their risk of taking meat and moving forward. This is a very nice push as the rest of Katz, well, they're slowly being staggered. They may have a faster respawn, and I think that's what they're more relying on, because even if Derpy dies and the support line is kind of split in this very weird spot where they can get picked off, look at that, Mead's already back and ready to help push.
Yeah, Mead goes down, but smartly just delays the point for as long as he can. That's going to allow one more fight for Kracked Katz to try and push back on here. And honestly, if they play this time right, it could be the last fight. They're going to have the Blizzard, the Barrage from Derpy coming up very soon. Let's it go. It finds 2.
Here's the issue, though. It may find 2, but the rest, there are 2 people still alive, and there's definitely enough time for them to kind of run back on. They tried to go on that high ground and maybe win it off that, but Pascal wasn't there to help heal, and this is where we're already seeing the Diva come in. They have to go if they want to touch this point. Only 5 seconds left on the clock. I'm pretty sure the only person who's going to be able to touch it for a split second is that Echo, but immediately melted down. Same with the Lucio as they tried to touch. Now the rest of the team moving in, maybe wanting to do as much as they can. That window in a weird kind of angle, having to just rely to make anything happen. Today spinning to winning, but there is no winning against an Orisa who doesn't even get boot. As you slowly get melted down and the rest of your team feeling a little bit upset as they just kill you before you even touch. Let them get a chance to Doomfist. Come on, you're treating them like Chipsa. Alright? Regen not going to be able to kind of succeed when it comes to catching that second point, but still, it's anyone's game. Who knows? Maybe a map 5, maybe Crazy Katz finish this out, but dividing, we are in this kind of interesting spot. That payload is in a very dangerous area where respawns are in the defending side.
It is, but, you have to give a shout out to Kracked Katz there. They were able to take advantage of those respawns effectively, even when it was looking pretty scary for them for a bit there. Once again, though, we were talking about this on Rialto. Kracked Katz put together an impressive defense. They couldn't get it done on attack. If we want to see them bring us to a decisive map 5, they have to get it done here. They're going to be looking like if they have 40 seconds to change things, but they're probably going to be sticking on the double shield here. And when I'm looking at the comp that Regen are running here, that concerns me. Today is going to have a field day, as he's going to have pretty much free 6-man pile drives and roll-throughs galore on this slow-moving double shield composition.
I don't know. I had to clean my ears for a second because you're speaking kind of facts right now. I'm not going to, disagree with that more than anything. I'm more wondering how... it's a lot of questions that I'm asking because these teams are so evenly matched. I can't confidently say, well, one team can do this, one team can do that, because they're evenly being able to kind of play around. Now with this Far Mercy, with the double shield, going up against a Wrecking Ball, it's going to be a struggle for them to be able to focus down a single target. The support line, May Mercy, have not the literal character, but the more medical phrase, as critical is immediately hacked, is being dived on, but then they're struggling to move in, like is going to be picked out from the skies as Derpy. Well, it's going to be able to take you out. May mercy be with you, as I'd like to say. And the rest of the side of Regen are now looking for a target to be able to focus on taking their angles, but Pascal is struggling to be up as he has to rotate out. It seems that they're paying more attention towards Dylan and the Baptiste, but there is just enough peel to be able to save him and take out today. Same with Green Zone Mech. That was a pretty slow, but a really good way to be able to win that point out, abusing their own playstyle against them.
Oh, are you gonna go for Pascal? Gonna go for Pascal Derpy? Get the 5K?
Well, of course.
All right.
Derpy's just different.
Just different. Derpy just picks apart the members of Regen there. They were trying to play a very individualistic style, but like was just such a juicy target there. A slow-moving Brigitte all by herself, and without that Brigitte, there was nothing that the rest of Regen could do to deal with the spam damage of Derpy. Already up to a barrage, could be a game-winning barrage at this point. They have 5 minutes to push this through about 70 more meters and bring us to a map 5. This is looking pretty good for them at the moment.
They're looking like a rodeo, if I could think of a word that better matched that. Shade is onto the Widowmaker, meaning they have a bit more sight lines, but look at that. They are just being poked at every spot. They do try to dive in, but then immediately that window is used, and Pascal feels a little bit pressured out to use that Transcendence, and that's what's been happening a lot in this game. Luckily, though, the Mines is going to split the tank line versus their own DPS line and support, but Critical has mobility, so they're just going to basically ignore it. They're gonna jump on top, and they're slowly gonna move in. Unfortunately, though, that's what Shade was looking out for, being able to find out Deco. So Mead, now angered, just in World War II right now, using that Bongo and Holt just to try to find out Pascal and the Brig, who was being DM'd so perfectly to where that damage basically meant nothing. Now stuck in this small room, Dylan's gonna be hit by that pulse bomb and eventually taken out. They're stuck inside this small house, but they are intruders, and right now I think they are just being kicked out. It's a bit unfair, you know, they need a little bit of home and place to be secure in, especially while they're waiting for the rest of their team to come back. So they're just going to just fight back. They don't want to be leaving this house. This is their home. This is what they claim as they take out the Brigitte and move forward onto the payload. Sure, the respawns are in their favor, but there is no consistent picks coming out of the side of Regen as this window is being used to help them push the payload without any worry. That bomb is being placed down, but the Baby Diva is going to be gone. The bomb not going to be able to find much as they're looking to just boop around. Goridic Flux going high into the skies. The barrage catches them out. The rally is just not enough to go against that pure damage, and poor Pascal being bullied inside the backline while Today tries to contest that point with Scoop, but shut down and sent back home. It seems that Cracked Katz, they want to send us to a map 5 today.
We are going to get it. Cracked Katz win the poke battle eventually once again with I think it was the Brigitte on Regen, who found themselves getting caught out early. You can't lose your Brigitte in this comp. You simply can't. It can't happen. And, yet you are like 90% of your team's healing, and even though Shade can maybe get a couple of headshots on that Widowmaker, without your Brigitte, you just do not have the ability to sustain the Pharah damage, and that is exactly what happened twice over the course of that attack, and that is eventually the difference maker. Derpy on that Pharah. We've mostly been keeping quiet about them getting really on their DPS counterparts now, but that Pharah pick came up clutch for Cracked Katz here to send us to map 5.
Yeah, you know, I would do like the cleaning my ear or bringing out my thing that checks my temperature. I've already used those for a joke, so I'm not really going to try it out. But we are in a very scary spot. It's almost been back and forth. Regen get a map, Cracked Katz get a map, Regen crack. So if we go by order and how things have been working, Regen should, in theory, win the next map. But I think that's more defining on how they're willing to play their compositions and how they're kind of going up against Cracked Katz, because at times it seems that when they are looking good, the next map they're looking bad. And I don't know what exact reason that is, whether or not that they are just not comfortable on those specific points and they don't scrimmage, so they're not used to try it out. Maybe that's why they're choosing just the ban Volskaya, you know, spit in the face of any 2CP. They may not even want to go on 2CP, but I still respect getting rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, why not just throw out all the 2CP maps and just not deal with it at all. I mean, Regen, at this point, what have you got to be thinking if you're this team? I think you've got to have gone into this game thinking that you are the favorites. You will most likely come out on top. But man, Kracked Cats have really come up punching above their weight class today. Have really surprised a lot of us here. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not being like mean to Kracked Cats here. Like
This comes down to the idea that they're like basically a family name. Everybody knows Regen, and then Kracked Cats come out of nowhere. Maybe some players are recognized, but when you're not familiar with them, we tend to just not truly look at them the same. And I definitely think that's a bit of something that eventually we'll get used to, and we'll be like, you know what? Well, we'll hype up more new teams, but without any information, we get caught out. We're looking at Regen, we're like, oh, we know you. All right,
Yeah.
you'll be able to scoop this up. And Crazy Cats have definitely started to make a name for themselves, at least in my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone watching on the Star Esports Twitch channel won't be forgetting the name Kracked Cats anytime soon, as we're still waiting on the map pick from Regen here, just trying to talk things through a little bit. I've got to say, I feel like the Zenyatta comps have started to bite Regen in the butt a little bit here. I know Pascal is an incredibly mechanically skilled player, very good at that Zenyatta, but that puts so much pressure on your other support player like to be able to keep everyone else alive, because you have the Discord Orb and the damage, you are trading that out for healings, and Zenyatta does not do that much healing. And so if like gets taken out early, your entire composition falls apart. And we saw it move in that exact direction on Blizzard World. Now the next map pick, the final map pick has come in. Regen's bringing us to Lijiang.
Man, I feel like an old elder just sitting down watching like someone from a village coming in to fight my prince, and I'm caught off guard that they've been able to go so far and so quick, and already the MVP vote. This is the last map to truly put your input in.
Get those MVPs in. Hey, Derpy really, I think, set themselves apart in that attack, and maybe an MVP candidate.
I definitely have to agree. And you know, Dividing, if you can guess who the MVP candidate will be, maybe I'll buy you a poster for your background, you know?
I could use a couple, couldn't I?
Yeah, you 100% could. Look at it, it looks a little lovely in there. But either way, Lijiang Tower. This is a map. I no longer feel confident saying that this leans into someone's side or any other side, because I've been proven wrong every time, and I'm very, very often proven wrong, you know, as much as I want to lie about it. So when seeing them run out onto the brawl, it's something that I can at least feel comfortable in knowing that I could see it running out. But though Cassidy on one side, May on one side seems to be switching it up. They seem to want to kind of mirror it out. But who wins this when it's just a pure mirror?
It is a pure mirror. I mean, if we go back to King's Row, it was clear that Regen had the advantage on these sort of brawl mirrors, but on Nepal, it was Kracked Cats who sort of came out on top. I think it's going to come down to do today. Has been kind of the X factor. Both has been explosive and has also kind of gotten himself into trouble by pushing up a little bit too far. I think he's my X factor player to watch in this matchup.
Yeah, they just barely managed to survive that Maywall frenzy until eventually Mead gets caught out. They now have to use that immortality. Using it first is going to mean a lot, as they no longer can push forward. Though the Symmetras are being the ones who are putting in that damage, and Deco's going to shut down Shade. They're not at a massive kind of disadvantage without getting that first pick. This is where we see Crazy Cats put them inside of a small box using that window. They now want to damage it out today. Split off, picked off, and now the rest of the team of Regen, well, they're slowly going to be staggered out. Unfortunately enough, just not going to be able to do much, not even get a capture on that point.
Yeah, and again, it's Today who gets split off from the rest of his team. Some beautiful brawl from Kracked Cats, just sort of getting around the center pillar of Control Center and taking out that Reinhardt. So now we have control in favor of Kracked Cats, and every ultimate other than Amplification Matrix coming up soon. But the same can be said of the other side.
Yeah, although both Shatter's not really getting too much room, it seems that the Blizzard is the one that they're more relying on. Even if that wall wants to try to stop you from moving out, you've just been charged to oblivion, and Meat is heavily going after you while the rest of your team, well, Regen, they're kind of just respawning. Though with this MTP, it's not going to be too much of an issue, and Shade wants to switch over to that Hanzo, maybe for that headshot shield damage value. They really don't have too much to care about, especially with the fact that Katz are able to take that TP, immediately retreat, and now they could set themselves up for another fight, using that Mei wall just to kind of waste that time, kind of block off that line of sight, and now they have to move into this awkward room where the wall splits them off. Blizzard stops anyone from walking in, catches out too, but the bomb being there just barely almost finds them, but the immortality is there to be able to peel in. Dylan still wants to try to save this fight, manages to find out today, but the advantage very much is on the side of Regen. As much as I think Deco is a pretty cool guy with sunglasses, and, well, you're not going to be able to win a 6v4, 5, something like that.
Yeah, but you get 74% online if you're Kracked Katz. That's so good. That's basically last fight territory if you can take control back. Shade has swapped back onto Hanzo, so the one-shot potential of that character is going to be huge for this team as they try and push into Pascal's amplification matrix. I also have to point out for a second, quick stat, it's not the same anymore, but for a time there, Critical had double the damage of Pascal while matching and healing.
Yeah, but it seems that today wants to try to get that MVP. Whoa, they combo that bomb charge, but it gets kind of midway canceled out. Doesn't even matter when today's Shatter is able to drop you all to the ground, and eventually they just pump you full of damage. Look at that, able to tie things up. They even have the dragons to slow down this push.
Yeah, a quick fight win there from Regen to get the tempo back on their side. However, now today has to know that Mead has the Shatter. He can't let that one slip past him. He's got to make sure that Like is also out of the way, making sure that that beat gets available extremely soon because the Blizzard from Snow will be up momentarily. But not quick. Blech,
yep.
Not that quick.
It's a bit unfortunate. They have to use that sound barrier to try to make something happen, but the counter sound barrier and with today's aggressiveness, it seems it's just not enough, as Meat is going to be able to win that fight, and they pop out the window, the shield. They're feeling pretty great about themselves, even losing that first initial pick. They're going to be coming up on this next fight with the Blizzard. This is a one-fight territory at this moment, as Dylan once again gets that 3K, shuts down the push. Regen, they're going to need to come up with a new strategy. More than anything, Green has to shut down this Blizzard.
Snow dying early in that fight ends up being sort of a blessing in disguise because now you have that Blizzard available coming into this next fight. But Skikoops is very close on the other side. Snow has to be aggressive with this, and he is.
Oh, they're pushing out. They really want to move forward as much as they can against that Blizzard, but they wait their time. The counter Blizzard now perfectly landing down. Meat just barely gets that immortality, and Dylan uses that bomb to split them up, but the dragons, rudely enough, gotta be able to take out too. Now the Symmetra, the rest of the squad, they're slowly going down, asking where we dropped, because we are not gonna be standing back up. Though Dylan, interestingly enough, is hiding outside, gonna be landing onto the point just to be able to contest for as much as possible, waiting for that round to come back. They use that window, having to get off, but they are unable to touch. Dylan frozen, and Meat not able to just move forward. Today is just absolutely shutting them down. This is now match point. Regen looking pretty great.
They are looking extremely good. That last fight there, the Hanzo swap from Shade ends up being the difference maker. Just the spam damage of those Hanzo arrows as well as the Dragon Strike was too much to deal with for Regen, so it comes, for Kracked Katz, so it comes down now to Night Market. You have to be perfect, and we're seeing a bit of a clash of styles here now. Mead is on the Orisa. We're going for a more stationary comp. Wow, mobility is the name of the game for Regen with the Wrecking Ball. We do also have a Sky Battle here. Derpy and Deco going to be 2v1ing Skikoops here. Does not have a Mercy to help him out.
My goodness, I don't even know how to feel about this. So much of the sacrifice giving into this fight. Double Shift's going to have be able to kind of long-term hold this point, but I feel the Wrecking Ball is going to be able to quickly capture and just move around. It's going to be hard for the Double Shield to, well, not the Double Shield, more of the bunker, because they're not really running a Sigma, but that's neither here or there. has to play inside this small room. Pascal is going to be picked out, just out of position and out of mind as they move forward. This point's up to anyone to truly touch first, but it seems that they want to, on both sides, kind of win this out. However, Regen are dangerously low. They've now lost 2 very early on in the capture. It's just on the side of the Katz as Derpy is going to be able to just shut everyone down. A powerful Pharah indeed.
Yeah, the Derpy Pharah is once again causing so much trouble for the side of Regen. Pascal was going to smartly swap off of Zenyatta, but I'm not sure if the Ana pick is much better. It just feels like you are just as exposed as you were on Zen. You can get some sleeps off, which might be what you're going for, but a sleep is difficult to hit on a Pharah, no matter how good you are.
Definitely have to agree. And you've lost your DPS and support who were stuck inside the backline while you were trying to recapture the point. Now your own Wrecking Ball comp is to isolate people out and have a full 6 to be able to dive on a single target. Look, as they're already being poked out, and Green wants to use that DM as much as possible to eat up that forest damage, but they're basically feeling casual. Snell even has the visor to find out the flying duo. Leak is going to be picked off, so it's going to be harder for Scoop to just find much, though Deco is a very impressive pick to find out because there's now no res. Farah is going to be able to take a lot more damage. They still have the barrage, they still have the window, and, well, Deco's going to be able to come back faster than you expect, so you have to take advantage of it as that window gets placed in the middle of the point, and it seems like Critical's being pressured on. Has that immortality, is feeling fine, and the Diva, Green kind of lost where they were, so now the fight's on the point as Meat uses the bongo, does get that anti, the mine's placed all around the point, but today is picked off. It's all up to Scoop to try to kind of clean it out, but it's just one big, messy, long fight that they're not going to be able to get much, and they still invest. It seems Scoop wants to use the Nano to try to get something, but then the barrage shuts you down. Shade and Leak trying to do as much as they can to just bring it back, but Snell, Deco, they're able to not only get that res, but the damage in. What a long fight, so much sacrifice, and now it's at 98-0. You have to touch this point just to make something happen, as Today wants to do as much as possible, but it's just not enough, folks. They are absolutely bullying the side of Regen, as the moment they get on, the moment they try to make something happen in the old economy that they built, they're struggling. They do manage to build up to that copy, play that Diva. The first bomb comes out, second bomb on the point. They do manage to find out Derpy, Meat, Dylan. That's just going to be a free reset. They did have to invest everything in their pocket, even make a return, kind of a banking check. They had to ask the bank for a little bit more. I'm not really good with taxes or money, so just think that was funny. Well, they at least saved themselves a possibility to win the match.
Yeah, such a scrappy fight, and this is what we were talking about before. The individualistic play, the fact that anyone on Regen can pop off at any moment. In this case, it was Ski Coops with the ultimate and just the damage from Echo being able to push in and get the picks off. But, I mean, look at the comp now from Regen. They're forced onto a Zenyatta Lucio comp. It is extremely low healing, extremely easy for Derpy to get picks off on it, and Today's already down.
Yeah, Snell uses that visor, gets so much peel, and just walks in. Soldier 76, the legs, able to spread it out. Snell, you are a model, sitting on the front stage, being able to pick off everyone. Now, the only person who's really able to touch is Today, but being booped off that point, having to use your resources just to barely try to touch and then get booped off by the Diva, it's just not enough. We are at match point, folks. They are going the extra step.
Map 5. Round 3, it's all going to come down to Lijiang Gardens, and if I'm a Regen fan, I'm sweating here because Derpy's Pharah has been a monster throughout Rialto, throughout Lijiang. You haven't been able to find an answer to it, and this is the strongest Pharah map on Lijiang. I'm sure Derpy and Deco are going to be sticking onto this Pharmercy combo. We see a new strategy now coming out from Regen. Today Winston, Green on the Diva. They're going to be going for a dive comp, trying to take the aggression before Derpy can get the damage necessary. I don't know. This is an interesting composition, but we haven't seen Regen play it yet.
Yeah, the Shadow Dive already being punished. Today gets picked off. Now they immediately retreat. They're not even going to risk being picked off and staggered as they move back. Derpy, it's just been shining on the Pharah. What has woken up? Immediately, they are going to be regrouping as a team, but the damage boost pumping in. They are looking to group someone off, but it's just not very effective. Although Dylan able to find out, Scoop picked them off. Green, no mech going to be found out. The Shadow Dive collapsing under itself as Leak is able to find out Critical, and they rotate on the point, but this is going in the favor of Katz as they capture the point. Now you can try and push it for as much as you want, maybe try to pull in onto that Pharah, but Critical's gone. They still have so much damage that what are you going to do in comparison?
Yeah, I mean, you're able to successfully do the point of the Shadow Dive comp, take out Critical. This puts a lot more pressure on the Deco to keep everyone else alive, but as you do that, Derpy is just getting so much poke damage on your team already. The barrage is up, and oh man, going across that bridge is so dangerous in the concussive blast.
Even more dangerous when you get caught out by not only a visor, but a barrage at a safe distance, able to take out Today Green. And now as they slowly go off the bridge, a direct hit's gonna take out Shade. This has been 2 fights within 40 seconds, and they have built so many ultimates. They practically would have had 6 if they didn't invest before. Though with this reset, on it, but
yeah.
The issue comes is, who do you focus this down on? They're not staying together.
Yeah, there's very unlikely that this EMP is going to get more than a couple, but you've got to get something big, and it gets one. It is Mead, and only Mead gets hacked, and the bomb from Dylan is found too. The EMP has gotten absolutely nothing. It's 71 and counting.
It hurts! They're trying to do everything in their power. They even use the coalescence to try to make it happen. Now with these 2 desperate switches, they need something to pop out. Today even finally builds up that primal rage. The damage has just been too much. They're even walking through server room, get hit with the concussion blast, and then dive in. The primal rage trying to just kill this soldier 76 off. Maybe the Mercy Shade's able to finish that one off. Get that plus side out using the sound barrier. Once again, being able to clutch it up at the last second to start finding these picks all around the point. They don't know who to focus down, but then again, similar to before, it's all about how you can hold this for the long-term sustain, because this is 99-0 and you have a long way home.
Yeah, Kracked Katz just have to win one more fight to bring home the upset. But it's not quite as bad as it was on a night market when they were in the same situation. Green is going to have the Diva Bomb online, and honestly, Pascal is probably going to have the Coalescence very soon as well. But you're playing into the Bongo, the Barrage, the Tactical Visor. There's going to be so much damage that you're going to have to weather in order to win this fight. Kracked Katz are in a fantastic position if they can convert on these ults.
They use that Bongo really far back, but the bomb is going to be going after it. They have to use the Immortality, and the Barrage just really only able to get Green. They're able to still push forward against this bunker and try to find as much as they can. However, Derpy, Dylan, they say otherwise. The DPS now wanting to make a difference. They're putting a lot of pressure onto Meat, but it looks like the Pulse Bomb from Shade is able to do more than enough to secure this win as they finish off Derpy. Once again, this is going down to the wire.
Better for Regen, you're able to survive the Barrage and the Bongo. I gotta say, great bomb from Green. It takes out the Immortality field and the Bongo, making the Barrage much less lethal. And now Skikoops is going to try and push forward with the Tac Visor.
Yeah, they're playing very aggressive, moving forward that window, trying to just help them move in. They find out Pascal at 76%. Oh, now that Diva falls off the map, Green's feeling a little bad. It's no longer a Green day as they are now staggering themselves to touch the point. But this is practically a team kill as now they have to just jump onto the point today, going through this window. But you're taking this much damage. Look at that, already having to move off. Can anyone really touch? No! You're not able to get it out. And look at this, Kracked Katz. They are your winners.
The upset is complete. Kracked Katz in a barn burner of a 5-map series are able to finish it against Regen, send them to an early trip down to the lower bracket. I mean, some beautiful play overall from Regen. They made it close. They looked like for a second they had things figured out, but they tried to go on a little bit too aggressive today. And Green, they tried to get in a little bit close to the spawn of Kracked Katz, and what they got in response was an amplification matrix to the face. They get taken out, and it snowballs from there. Kracked Katz have pulled off the upset of the tournament so far.
I've got to say, that was it's only like week 1. Why are these players just giving it everything they got? I don't know. Maybe some trial teams and Overwatch League need to be paying attention. You know, maybe there's a bit of scouting you can do. But wow, what an amazing series. And now you get the opportunity to truly sit down. If you want to make an MVP vote, you make it now. There is no other situation after this. We're just going to have a second where we sit down, we get to talk, and we get to see who gets it. But for me, at least, I definitely want to point out some people on Regen who have been shining. I think definitely Green and Shade have been absolutely popping off continuously. Same with like Leak and Scoops on a kind of lower scale.
Yeah.
But today in Pascal, they kind of, I would consider the smaller weak points. I definitely think they're extremely talented players, but at times they were dying, and well, I think it proves what Kracked Katz. I think the more this went on, the more we saw more players starting to pop off, such as Mead and Derpy, who were people that we really didn't talk about. Sure, Critical didn't do, absolute God's work, but you don't need to. You're a support player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Regen just really tried too hard to make these Zenyatta compositions work. It worked really well there for a bit, but I think Kracked Katz tried a little bit too hard. They kind of figured out the Zenyatta comps in the form of the Pharah coming out from Derpy. You had a lot of very vulnerable support players that were very easily taken out by the spam damage of the Pharah, and Regen just could not adjust to it fast enough. That, I think, is what ended up being their Achilles heel. They threw so much at the wall to try and deal with it, and it just didn't work. Regen, unfortunately, could not deal with the Pharah. But it's not just Derpy here, because Kracked Katz all did a fantastic job of being able to set up Derpy for those explosive plays and, follow up on Derpy when he had created openings for them. It's not a 1v6 kind of situation. This really was Kracked Katz being the better team in this case.
I'd have to say, I agree. I feel more bad for the people who committed, over 41,000 points into Regen at times and then just lost it. It was truly a fight to see who had more money in their pockets and who won it out in the end. But this is the moment where we truly get the interview. And folks, I know I've been watching Twitch chat. You can't play these eyes. My thing fell and no one told me. Okay, don't worry about my chicken or anything. I'm gonna fix this and introduce the man themselves. Dylan, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Dividing, you take this over. I'm gonna.
Okay, you got it. All right, so Dylan, first of all, congratulations on the incredible win over Regen today. First of all, give me a little bit of a look into those comms at the end of Lijiang Tower when you guys won. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling hyped. The comms are absolutely chaotic.
Yeah, I can imagine 100%. Let's go back real quick to the end of, I believe it was Nepal. Wait, what was the third map? It was Rialto. Rialto was the third map. You guys were down 2-1. Regen was on match point. What happened in that break between maps 3 and 4 that caused you guys to turn this around and create this 5-map barn burner of a series victory?
We told each other that we just gotta keep ourselves cool and not tilt, and we were able to win it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, Intel. You have your green screen back up.
I mean, barely. Don't worry about it. I think it's just the fact that Dylan entered the room that my entire space blew off. I couldn't handle it. And so, my question is that we don't really have much information on Kracked Katz. So, give us a bit of background of the formation of the team, picking out the players, and how you guys felt going up against Regen, which are a team that are, well, at least fairly popular within the community.
So I actually recently joined Kracked around 2 months ago. They actually participated in the last Open Division, coming top 24, and we're kind of not really very known in the scene. My former teammate Deco came onto the team, and after that I joined the team, and the team built a lot of synergy around it. It took us quite a bit of time, but overall, I think that we're improving every day and we're striving to become the best.
That's a pretty. I really like that. So, do you feel like that kind of helped you guys push forward, especially on that map 5 scenario? You're just like, we want to set ourselves a name.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. We got to cut this off a little bit early to make sure that we can start our second game on time. But our last question to you, with this victory, you guys have set up a date with Team Best Buds in round 2 of the winners bracket. Anything you got to say to your future opponents?
You better watch out. Our brawl is pretty nasty, so bring it on.
I gotta say, that is true. That is true. But Dylan, no more questions. Is there anyone you want to shout out, give some love to, especially Twitch chat, who have been basically writing love letters to you all day?
Shout out to my fans. Shout out to especially my teammates. And shout out to Meteor coming in last minute to ring for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everyone on the side of Cracked Cats for a truly impressive victory. A lot of people didn't know you very well before today. They do now. Thank you so much, Dylan, for coming in for the interview. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. See ya.
And go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say, that was an absolutely phenomenal map, but you're the one dividing that I want us to take us out, because I'm the one who brought us in.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to do it for us today here. Oh, that's not going to do it for us today, because, we have another game coming up right after this with a new set of casters, 2 new hungry teams to try and prove themselves in Star Esports, Shikigami versus Northeastern University. It's going to be a good one, but Intel, do you have any last words before I sign us off here?
I just want to say that he doesn't know, chat. He doesn't know the next match that I'm casting again in. And you guys got to watch.
Didn't know.
Yeah, you guys got to watch my background fall, and you got to see an intense game. So I definitely recommend, if you just want to be able to laugh at me and give love to the players, you make sure to tune in, because we are not going anywhere. We're just going to be going to a quick break, or really just anywhere else. As we wait to see who the next match is, stay tuned, because here at Star Esports, we are still ready for another match.
Bye.